No?
It'll be a few minutes.
Okay. All right. Good morning. We're going to start off with the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Excellent. So Toastmasters in Lockport is being held on the second floor of the Bewley building. For those of you who do not know where we're located or may find this in the future, it's where we're currently located. We're going to be looking at possibly going to the YWCA or possibly back to Tom's or the third alternative. I can't remember. I know it is. This is the third alternative. That's why I can't think of it. All right. Well, anyhow, I was reminded this morning that last week I said I was going to set up an officers meeting and I did not. I will be doing that during the meeting after my role is over. After the last evaluator finishes speaking, I will get on my phone, send it out a text message. Had given two options for 2 weeks from now so that we can go ahead and take care of some business that we need to do. One of the things that came up since the ghost theme last week was my new cat. For years, when my son was young, said that there was a spirit upstairs. My cat now goes up to the top of the stairs, stares at nothing for like 15 minutes, and then bolts downstairs out of nowhere. So now I've started looking for something that wasn't really there. So I don't know if anyone else has started looking for more spiritual interactions and apparitions, but it seems to hack its way in. So our Toastmaster today is Mike Lacotte.
Thank you, Mr. President. Lud, do you have an inspiration or do you want
What's the theme?
Smartphones.
smartphones?
I'll get it.
All right. So just for some housekeeping to do first, Beth Banks has graciously volunteered to be both the master and the grammarian this morning. And I will start with Nancy today. What is our word this morning? Nancy Fair.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Today our word is hack. I don't know if anybody's been hacked. I was once. That's enough, please, I hope. Originally, the word hack meant to chop or to cut. A little interesting history. In the 50s, hack was used to create problem solving. And in the 60s, malicious telephone hacking was called phreaking, P-H-R-E-A-K-I-N-G. It also means to cough. Thank you, Larry, for the props.
You're welcome.
And also, can you hack this? Can you handle it? Remember in the 70s, can you hack it? Can you dig it? It also is used in hockey, football, baseball, soccer, rugby, and massage. Massage is the chopping hacks that you get on your spine. But slangily, we are going to use it today, probably most connected to gaining unauthorized access to either a computer or a phone system. Let's try to use the word hack today.
Thank you, Madam Wordmaster. Next, I will introduce Beth, in the dual role of master and grammarian.
Good morning, everyone. Well, I will try to
handle 2 roles. I'm not very good at that. My brain doesn't process 2 roles well. So we might get some of the meeting master and some of the meeting grammarian just to break things up a little bit. I do like that Thomas already used the word hack. Pretty good, pretty good. So thank you. I will attempt these roles.
Thank you, Beth. And I know you insert, he was a late last night. Our quote master this morning is Eric Schneider.
Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, good morning. I have 2 quotes that doesn't pertain with the theme today, but I just quickly found a couple last night. But I have 2 quotes from Rudyard Kipling and Ella Fitzgerald. Rudyard Kipling said, "I always prefer to believe the best of everybody. It saves so much trouble. And it isn't where you come from, it's where you're going that counts." Ella Fitzgerald. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Eric. And our gesture this morning is Tracy Farrell.
Thank you, fellow Toastmasters. I hope you can bear with me. This is the day of bad jokes. It's very difficult to find cell phone jokes. I know none of us can hack them. So bear with me. Why was the cell phone wearing glasses? He lost his contacts. How do you know you're texting too much? When you say LOL instead of actually laughing. What is the favorite TV show of a telephone number? That's pretty good. There's got to be somebody in here. Eric Schneider, you got to know this. Someone. Game of Phones. And finally, the last bad joke of the day. What do you get when you cross a telephone with an iron?
Burn ear.
Oh, that, nope, a smooth operator. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Tracy. And I will go next to Jen, who is our quizmaster this morning.
Good morning, everyone. I will be your quiz master today. So I will be quizzing you on whatever happens during our meeting today, and I hope you can hack it. Thank you.
Thank you, Jen. I guess Len has an inspiration this morning.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. I have a couple, actually. First one is by Ariana Huffington. We take better care of our smartphone than ourselves. We know when the battery is depleted and recharge it.
That makes sense.
The cell phone has become the adult's transitional object, replacing the toddler's teddy bear for comfort and a sense of belonging. How many people feel that? You leave the house without your phone and you feel naked. You have to turn around and go back for it. And we're living in an era where capturing moments using our phones is more important than actually living these moments with whoever's beside us. See that all the time. And finally, something I heard on one of the late night talk shows last night, 11% of people take their cell phones into the bathroom with them.
11%?
And the rest of the people use toilet paper. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Len. Those inspirational words. And this morning, next will be Tom Moran, who graciously stepped up to be our tech and gesture master.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Yes, I'll be watching the meeting from my virtual location, and I'll be commenting on both the technical aspect and also the, I don't know what else the tech master, oh, gestures. Yeah, gestures. So I'll be watching it. So far, I have one comment. I saw that Phil Russell got up and disappeared into Lake Ontario. I was kind of concerned for him. I thought maybe a search party was maybe something we should initiate, but I see he's back now, so I'm comfortable with that. So when called upon, Mr. Toastmaster, I'll be making my report. Thank you.
Thank you, Tom. And our club president, Thomas Heldwine, will be our timer this morning.
The timing light is here. It's working just fine. Green. Red. For those of you on Zoom, I have these folders. They are within visual range. I will just place them here on the lectern. You can come and get it, and then put the next one up on the lectern. So when you see me like appear into the screen. No, I'll be sitting close by. If they're online, I'll sit right here and I'll do it this way. That way I'm in.
Kind of neat. You can see the reflection of the light in the window on the screen.
All right. Well, I will sit right here during the. If they're, oh, in front of the camera. There you go. Okay. Yeah, that works.
Never mind, you can do it. I'm a liar. I understand now. I was confused.
If they're speaking here personally, it's just a light. If they're online, I tried to make myself obvious. All right. So real quick, table topics is 1.5 minutes, 2 minutes with a 15-second buffer. Speeches are normally 5 to 7 minutes with a 30-second buffer, and evaluations are 2 to 3 minutes with also with a 30-second.
Thank you, Thomas. There is tea over there if anybody else needs to pick me up for this morning. And our next job this morning will be Mark Campos, who will be our general evaluator.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. Fellow Toastmasters, good morning. My job as general evaluator will be to evaluate the job of the evaluators, the job of the Toastmaster, and the tone of the meeting as a whole. Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Mark. Now, where did smartphones doing the research actually came from? The technology actually surprisingly been around since about the late 90s, when they had to figure out a way to merge what professional businessmen used to have as Palm Pilots and the early clam cell phones. They had to figure out how to merge them. It did not become prevalent until the technology, the firmware caught up to the cell phones, which is when the company upgraded their cell phone towers and what now was known as 3G was launched. And that's where smartphones got their start, was the professional world and how it grew and things like that. So with that, I will introduce Jill Warren, who is our tabletop master. Jill.
Didn't shake hands because I don't have a free hand here. I was given the task of having 5 questions because we only have 2 speakers. Coming up with 5 questions based on smartphones themselves is a little bit tough. Maybe some people can do it, I couldn't. So I expanded into technology in general. I have 5 people on the list here who don't have jobs.
Oh dear.
Larry McKenzie, you are one of them. So are you available?
I'm always available.
Okay.
Oh, for speaking, yes. Speaking, yes, too.
Does your wife know this?
Unfortunately.
Okay, Larry, I'm going to let you be first here.
Aren't you sweet?
Have you ever waited in line to buy something new? Like a new release of the iPhone 13 or Black Friday, or something like that. And tell us about it.
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. Have I ever standed in line to buy something new? It depends on what you consider new. I have stood in line many, many times. One of the most exciting things I stood in line for were concert tickets. Before, you used to have to go and wait and stand in line and hopefully get a ticket. You'd be out there with maybe 300-400 people or more. Now you can go online and it's just a click of a button. But then you have to buy those tickets from the secondary market because all those people that are buying them ahead of time are selling them back to you for twice the price of what they were. So standing in line for something new, concert tickets came to my mind. One of the other things that did come to my mind that I stood in line for was many, many years ago, my daughter wanted a Cabbage Patch doll. And they were like gold. You could not find them anywhere. I did find them though at a store, but you had to pay ahead of time. And then you would walk into the store and they gave you a little ticket, almost like the 50/50 ticket. And then you walked up to the customer service desk and it was all through security even. And when you got to the customer service desk, somebody met you there. They took your name, took your ticket that you had for the Cabbage Patch doll, and somebody met you at the door and escorted you to your car with it wrapped in a bag so that nobody could see that you were actually buying it to go out of the store. Really? That was one of the most interesting things because there were people that were taking those in the parking lot, opening them, and you could take that brand new item that you bought for whatever it was at the time, and you could have sold it for anything in the parking lot. The only thing I didn't do was do that because my daughter would have really been upset with me, and they would have been upset with me, but I didn't get hacked on the way there or after. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Larry. I was worried you weren't going to get hacked in there. Okay. Jackie. Jackie. Tell us about the last time. Well, let me first preface this. Yesterday, I had to go over and get blood work. And doctor wanted a urine test too. I usually carry my phone in my back pocket and it falls out all the time. And I'm pulling my pants back up, which is probably TMI. So I set it on the back of the toilet there and I left it there. Which I realized as soon as we got home.
Oh, no.
We went back and got it. So Jackie, tell us about the last time you couldn't find your phone.
Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master. That happens a lot. And one of the things my phone does is track how many steps I take every day. So some days I take thousands of steps and other days I take like 439 because I've left my phone on my desk or it's in the couch cushions or whatever. I eventually end up calling it in order to find it again. But I do love my cell phone. I love taking pictures with it. I love using it for the internet and all kinds of things. I keep it next to me when I'm reading, which I do a great deal of, and look up unfamiliar words or the name of a city that I never heard of before, find out what it looks like and scan through some pictures. I have been hacked once. And strange things happened and, you know, eventually you get it cleared up and it's all over and done with. I think cell phones are amazing. And they've been part of my life since 1984 when Kevin got a job at Buffalo Telephone Company. We had the giant box in the back of the car and the cord running up to the handset in the front seat. It was a huge thing. And I thought to myself, well, at least it was a job. He'd been out of work for 3 months. So it was nice for him to have a job again. But only doctors and lawyers are going to have these things in their cars. They're not going to go much beyond that. Boy, did I misjudge that one. Thank you, Madam Table Topics Master.
Thank you, Jackie. What a wonderful story. Okay, let's see. Steve.
Long ride home.
I'm picking out these questions for the people I have here. How long have you left the VCR blinking at noon?
Gonna go there.
Well, let me tell you. How long have I left the VCR blinking at noon? How long since I've used the VCR? It used to be a way of life. When my brother was alive, he taped almost every show you can think of, and then he'd dupe the tape and zap the commercials. There's some dated technology. So we had tons of VHS tapes around there, and he wouldn't let me leave it out of time too long because he was kind of a perfectionist, more so than I am. Set that clock. Okay. It kind of bugs me too. The thing is blinking. That's like telling you, do something, do something, do something. Okay. So no, I never left them blinking very long because I couldn't stand to look at the flash. Now I always thought it was a good way to know if the power's been out. I go in there, oh, it's flashing at me. Power's been out. I better check a few other things. So they were a good warning system. Now you were talking about losing your phone. Well, you know, there's a great old hack for finding your phone when you lose it. The weekend, hey, Jill, dial my phone. I don't know where the devil it is. And then it rings and it works both ways. Mostly I'm calling her phone. Where'd you leave your phone? Well, let's find out. And an idea, this is my phone. All I need a phone to do is send out a few texts, make a few calls. I don't need a smartphone. And I would have the same problem. Where do I put it? For years, they came out with cell phones. They were big. And they kept making them smaller, smaller, smaller. They were only little things. Now we're going the other direction. Now they're trying to see how big they can make the phone so that you can't stick it in your pocket. I'm not sure where you're supposed to stick it, and I'll drop it right there.
Okay, some stories I wasn't really expecting there. Okay, let's see. Phil, you're online there. Have you ever been so frustrated with your technology that it went to a wall? You threw it. Go ahead, Phil.
No, but it came close. My friend Larry, he gets frustrated. It goes in the woods and you don't find it, and he won't touch a phone for months. He doesn't care. He doesn't want it. He wants to be alone. He's worse than Steve. He is so isolated. He doesn't care about anything or anybody. He cuts grass, shovels snow, and just has a good time doing it. And We go over and visit them, and all we do is drink beer, and that's about it. Now, as far as these cell phones are concerned, I think they're great. I'm going to try next week to do something I haven't done. There's a Toastmasters meeting at 7 o'clock. I have a financial services professionals meeting at 8 o'clock down in West Seneca. I can't be at either one, but I can be there with the use of the phone and my computer. It's great. I don't have to hack anything. All I have to do is go in. Talk about hacking. Last time I hacked was with a hatchet hacking down a tree. But that's another story. Now, I have to tell you, I think that this technology works really nice. There's 6 people here that are online that couldn't be at that meeting. And that's six people. I think that's cool that we can have that. Modern technology is taking over. Now, I'm not a great techno freak. It drives me absolutely nuts. My son, now he went to college for it. He started off playing video games, then he did it for real with the Navy, and he had a great time doing it. Now, I think technology is great. I think it's the future. And what we're doing here is amazing because we are moving into the future. Madam Table Topics Master.
Apparently Phil finally saw the red flag there. I have one more question. It's either Dave Licata or Margot. You're speaking? Well, I guess it's Margot then. You're right, you are speaking. Okay, Margot. This will be an easy one for you. Do you still have a landline?
Yeah, Jim, no, you have to start calling me on the landline. You know my cell phone is not going to work near our office. I have a cell phone. People love to call me on it. I'm sitting at my desk in the winery. I put my cell phone down and all I hear, ding, welcome to Canada. You're on Rogers Communication. So yes, I have a landline for the winery. We did give up our landline for the house, however. We were getting, I won't say it hacked, but the number of people who were calling us because my car insurance had run out. They didn't want to insure my swim. They get the phone calls from the hotels. My husband would say to them, my parole officer won't let me out of town. Oh, we have wonderful lines. We had one who kept calling and wouldn't give up. So I started making up words and just speaking garbage, you know. Boris. And they hung up on me and stopped calling. So we gave up our landline for that reason. However, the cell phone is my husband's lifeline. Yes, he takes it to the bathroom. He takes it to the dinner table. He takes it to his mother's house, which it used to be the hat at the table. Used to be my in-laws' big thing, take off your hat. And anybody else ever get that? Now it's Jim, put your cell phone away. Jim, put your cell phone away. Jim, the kids aren't using their cell phone. Jim, put your cell phone away. And that's what they hear all the time. So that's a few stories about our cell phone use. Madam Table Topic.
Thank you, Margot. All right, I think we're all done with this, the main part of this. Do we have a word master's report?
Our word did really well. Everyone qualified. Phil with the most. He used almost every tense of the verb. Margot once, Steve once, Jackie once, and Larry once.
Okay. How about a timer's report?
Thank you. Our speakers today definitely knew how to hack the system. Steve came in 1 second before the green, so that's in the buffer at 129. Jackie and Jackie and Margot both were in the green, and both Phil and Larry McKenzie, one was at 214, one was at 215, barely making the buffers. So they both of them hacked it in there.
Thank you. I think my job is done, and I'd like to think we all had fun with my questions this morning.
Thank you, Joe. So vote for Larry, Margot, Phil,
Steve,
Steve, and
Jackie.
Jackie. Thank you. Sorry.
Online, they can private message me, Mike.
Or if you want to private message Larry for those voting online. So actually, one of the first successful smartphones came from a Canadian gentleman who started BlackBerry. And the thing that put BlackBerry over the top really was their full-size QWERTY keyboard, which made all the difference for a lot of professionals. Now, they were quickly, he did a great job. The first smartphone I did have actually was a BlackBerry because I wanted to do more professional than normal. And then a little company decided to launch the iPhone, and that was what changed everything. Go figure, because Steve Jobs did whatever he wanted back then. So he decided to launch the iPhone and started the operating system wars, which is still going on today. And this has been for the better part of about 15 years now, when Google decided to join the fray with their Android operating system. And you basically had cell phone manufacturers picking sides, with most going towards the open source and the open source Android operating system, which made it easier for programmers to create their code. It was always easier for Android because they could share it better, whereas they had to write separate code for Apple. And I believe early on, a lot of the apps that were on the App Store and Apple were actually owned a percentage of Apple. So that's a little bit of information and research that I found while doing this. And with that, I will get into the speaking portion of our program. Catherine Orr this morning is speaking out of under the Persuasive Leadership Project, project category 2, understanding her leadership style. And her evaluator this morning is Mike Florio. Mike, can you introduce our speaker?
Good morning. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster. And yes, Katie will be speaking from the Pathways Level 2, Persuasive Influence. Project is Understanding Your Leadership, and it is Mr. Timer 5 to 7 minutes. And the title of Katie's speech this morning is Active Listening. Katie Banks.
Thank you so much, Mr. Evaluator. And thank you, Mike, for jumping in to volunteer. I got to be Catherine Orr and Katie Banks all in one introduction. I love that because I don't know who I am some days. It's still a transition. So this is a two-part speech. Part one, why is active listening important for leadership? Tying to the leadership skills assessment we all have taken or will take eventually if you're in Pathways. Part two will be next time, techniques for active listening. We all know active listening is a powerful tool. We use it in our personal lives as well as leadership situations. I am not saying I'm the best at it. Len called me out during a Zoom meeting some months back for being highly distracted or something like that. And I was juggling who knows what, I'm sure on my phone at some point or something like that. We all know about listening. We do it from the time that we're born until the time that we die. Active listening, though, is something else. The art of proper listening, we all know, takes practice. It's such an underrated leadership skill. Not that many people understand how critically important it is, especially compared to speaking. And we focus on the styles of leaderships. So can I see a show of hands? And I could look also on Zoom. Who has done this leadership assessment for one of the paths that they are on? I think probably all of us have done it or heard at least speeches about it. So I thought, to take this again. I wonder if it's changed much. It's about the same. According to the Toastmasters Leadership Assessment, the questionnaire gives you a ranking of the 8 leadership styles that Toastmasters is offering. And my ranking is about the same as it was last time. You might guess that my weaknesses are in the bureaucratic and authoritative and pace setting kinds of leadership. Those are not my strengths. I'm much more the innovator, the altruist, the democratic, and coaching and affiliative leader. But all of these and all of us need one skill to be effective, and that is listening skills. Without active listening skills, the leader can be pretty useless in the long term. But active listening isn't easy to hack. That's part of why even everyone trying to communicate might only be getting about 50% across. That's if like both of us are actually trying, 50% might be getting across. So when you're not trying and you're on your phone or other things are distracting you, you're thinking of the response that you're going to say more than actually listening to what is being said. It's not getting across. Technology is a great asset, but it can be so distracting. And today's topic is so tied into active listening. So why is it tied so much to leadership? We all can tell. We can tell that it's a simple, so leadership basically is the art of motivating a group or people or a person to achieve a common goal. The interesting part of the definition of that is the art of motivation. I'm not the kind that just tells you what to do if you've known me at all. I'm not that kind of a leader, and I haven't been since I was very young. I was in high school in a group called peer leadership, and I was taught how to lead from behind or lead by example. And I found it very valuable, and I found it much more connecting than the dictatorship's style of leadership that is what's more seen as a traditional leader. Getting to know your team, developing at least a basic relationship is important. And to motivate a team, you need trust and understanding, and you have to listen. It's a critical leadership skill. The objective of active listening is to fully understand the message, including anything beyond the spoken word. We'll get into that more in part 2. Listening is what we do with our ears. Active listening is what we see as well, body language, and so on. The art of active listening is one of the most underappreciated skills out there, and it is truly the essence of communication. Strong listening skills help teams like Toastmasters clubs perform better by showing support for others when they speak, along with better understanding of the ideas they share. This improves team chemistry. One of the reasons AM Lockport is so strong as a club is because of our chemistry. That matters when we listen to each other. Sometimes good listening skills are an afterthought to the ability to share ideas, but are equally as important. Listening to everyone, not just the loudest voices on a team, is so critical for supportive, motivating leaders. I truly believe that active listening sits at the heart of leadership. You can tell that by now. If leading others is about motivating them to achieve a common goal, it has to start with two-way communication, not just speaking in an authoritarian or bureaucratic style. Effective listening gives you knowledge and perspectives that increases your leadership capacity. Being open to feedback and new ideas from your team helps you learn and grow as a leader. It helps the team as well. And thank you, my fellow Toastmasters, for giving me a supportive place to nurture communication so we all grow as speakers, but equally, if not more importantly, so we can all grow as listeners. The Greek philosopher Epictetus said, "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so we may listen twice as much as we speak." Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Catherine. Our next speaker this morning is Dave Licata. He is working out on the level 4 vocal variety, and his evaluator this morning is Anne Marie Lenhart.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. Just a comment before I introduce David's speech. In terms of hacking, landline hacking is really pathetic. I get 2 to 4 to 5 calls a day. Yesterday, I got 3 calls from Amazon. One of them said that someone charged $1,050 on my bill. Another one was $900. Another one was $800. And I should, press 1 to call back. And I also get a lot of calls. I don't know how many people do, from Social Security, saying that my Social Security identity was hacked. So the technology is great, but the marketing, I get it on my cell phone too, but especially the landline. So I appreciated Margot's comments, because maybe I should pick it up and talk in gibberish and they wouldn't call again. I don't know, but very, very upsetting. So David will be talking we'll be giving a speech on Pathways Dynamic Leadership. And it's an elective, it's vocal variety. The purpose of the project is for the member to practice vocal variety to enhance the speech. So his title today is What Price Technology? So David Licata, What Price Technology? And it's a 5 to 7 minute speech.
Mr. Toastmaster, as I like to call him, Mike. Fellow Toastmasters. Oh, no guess. Oh, well. Never in the field of human conflict was so much owed by so many to so few. Let me assert my firm belief that the only thing we have to fear is fear itself. FDR. The evil that men do lives after them. The good is oft interred with their bones. So let it be with Caesar. That's from Julius Caesar, Mark Antony, Act 3, Scene 2. Now my question for the assembled multitude is, what do those 3 quotations have in common? Anybody? I promise you, my brother and sister Toastmasters, those quotations were never part of a slideshow. Absolutely not. Technology is fantastic. One day, a long time ago, and I wasn't there, they invented fire. And that started the whole thing rolling. Because you trace it back to that first little fire in that cave. And if they were smart, it was closer to the opening of the cave. And that's where everything takes off. But there's a price. That's when we started pollution, when we invented fire. But it's important. And I, even in my late age, I try to embrace technology. It's what's made us special. It's what got us the hell out of the trees, down on the ground, so we could be who we are today. No doubt it's important, but there's a price. As your resident old guy, my argument is that we are now too reliant on technology. I know it's not my world anymore. And I would never make this argument to an audience of non-Toastmasters. But you, my sisters and brother Toastmasters, I'm going to make the argument with you. When we speak, it has to be better. We have to demonstrate creativity, vocal variety, and we have to demonstrate pace. That's what makes us special. That's what drives home the point. That's how we underline our leadership. When we take this stage, we take it with gusto. The lectern is center stage, and the spotlight is on the speaker. And that stage is smack dab center of the theater of your mind. And the theater of your mind is the best theater. So think about it. Because when you're working in people's minds, everybody's taking a different view of what you're saying, and you're stirring that pot. You're stirring their imagination. It generates their imagination. It fires up their imagination. Now we Zoom. We've got amazing backgrounds. We know how to share screens. The price of this is the loss of creativity. I would rather hear a speaker color in that scene, that magical postcard that's in their mind, and share it with us, because my postcard is going to be a little bit different, and so is yours, and so is yours, and so is yours. And that's not a bad thing. Those small seconds that it takes to share a screen seem like an eternity to me. And the spotlight on the lectern dims and the house lights come up in the theater of the mind. That's the cost, and it's too high. Mr. Toastmaster. Thank you, David, and I will call on our timer to give us a timer report. Timer, are you ready?
Yes. I was using my cell phone as the timer. The battery on the low stopwatch is apparently dead. But my battery on my phone is apparently below 20%. So every time for the 5 to 7 minute speeches, it would go into power saver mode and just shut off before we got to the 5 minute mark, and I'd have to reopen my phone. So I love technology. It's great. Katie, you came in at 5:28 because I didn't originally understand that you were I thought you were like being technical about the path. So you're actually closer to 6. So you're right in the middle of this 5 to 7. And Dave came in right in the middle as well at 6:16. So we can vote.
Thank you, Thomas. So either vote for Dave or for Catherine. And somebody will be around to collect it. Don't forget to provide notes as well. And then if there's any notes in the chat, Larry will figure out a way how to pass those on as well.
See you, amigo.
Thank you, Larry. Now, smartphone technology I've always found interesting because I really thought it was going to evolve faster than it is. I thought that Google Glass was going to be a thing. That didn't work. Now I find it funny because I think Steve is right. They went from smaller to larger. Now they're getting back to smaller because the new Samsung flagship is figuring out how to fold a smart screen, which is entertaining. You just have to pay more money, like always. So it's one of those things that people are way too reliant on their cell phones, and I have yet to be hacked. I'm very fortunate in that. I think that some of the most fearsome experiences now is what's called a ransomware attack, which is they hold your information hostage, and you actually are really SOL in life because you either have to pay them so that you're able to use your information, or they actually do sell information. Actually, one of the things I was hacked about a year. I wasn't hacked, but one of the websites I used for umpiring was hacked, and we got free identification from Experian Work software for a year, which is good. I think they just deleted the information once the ransom was actually paid. So with that, I will introduce our first evaluator this morning. Evaluating Catherine Orr will be Mike Florio. Mike.
Good morning, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, and especially Katie, Catherine, or Banks. I want to try and get them all in there for you, Katie, just so that everyone's aware. Wonderful presentation this morning, Katie. It was, you started right out with the why and why this was important to you and why it should be important to everyone else. And I really liked your vocal variety in this speech. I remember at times the speed of your speech was, well, very quick and very fast paced, but you went from a very soft tone to very calm, very relaxed. You felt watching you, I could tell that you were very calm up there. Eye contact, you had great eye contact with the room. And I think maybe going forward, maybe give a glance to the camera every once in a while. That was one thing that maybe I noticed that you could improve on. You were looking through your notes, but you looked at everyone in the room. And I waited for you to maybe glance at the camera, but you didn't. But that's something brand new that I think everybody needs to become aware of with this new technology and how to respond to it. Your gestures were so natural. Your hand gestures were really excellent, I thought. Trying to get your point across to everyone. Very, very good. Your crowd awareness of the crowd. I like when you ask the crowd, for their response, and then they raise their hand. Let's see. Interest. You kept everyone's interest about being a leader, and I noticed that. You said your style is maybe to lead from behind, and I don't know. I was at the Celtic Festival, and you have a little bit of dictator in you. Okay, so I just want to let you know that you can kind of go from zero to dictator if you really need to. Your high school story was great to kind of meld that into the story. I thought that was really good. I think if you wanted to maybe improve on this speech, that maybe you gave us the why, and I was hoping to maybe get some tips as to how we could be better listeners at the end. And I was waiting for that, and maybe, time constraint, you weren't able to get to that, but that was maybe the one thing. But beyond that, you ended with a quote. I thought it was an outstanding speech. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. And our next evaluator this morning will be Anne Marie Lenhart, evaluating Dave Licata. Anne Marie.
Good morning again, fellow Toastmasters, and especially Dave Licata. When I saw I was going to be your evaluator, Dave, I was really honored because you are one of the most incredible speakers that I have seen in the 20 years that I've been a Toastmasters. I remember when I was a new member, I was amazed at your cadence and your timing and your presence and your sense of relaxation. You make it look so easy, like it's natural for everybody, and certainly it isn't. So your speech today, What Price Technology, was very interesting. You started off in your introduction by really inviting us in with the 3 quotes and giving us something to think about. And you offered a place for people to make a comment. So it was good to be invited in. The main focus of your speech today in terms of your goal was vocal variety. And I felt that you really did meet that requirement. Again, a nice cadence in your voice from very low to more assertive and a higher volume. So I thought that was really good. The content, a lot of imagery that you use, which is very appealing and engaging. The fire with the caveman, and you had said the expression that got us out of the trees. So that was really a nice touch. In addition, the idea of the spotlight on the speaker and the imagery of the mind was very appealing, also kind of inviting us into what Toastmasters do that make us very unique, even in this age of high-powered technology. It's sort of asking people to slow down and really enjoy the creativity of the speaker. So in terms of the evaluation sheet, it talks about loudness or volume, pitch, vocal quality, and articulation. And I think you did well with those elements. One of the most powerful things I think you do is you really know how to use silence and pauses effectively in your speech. They're integrated in. It gives the audience a chance to think, and those are very effective. So I see I'm almost out of time here. So I thought you did a great job. I always look forward to your speeches, and I think you met your goals. And thank you today for the speech, Mr. Toastmaster.
Thank you, Anne Marie. Give our timer a minute to collect, please. Okay. So I'll just save some time. Both of our evaluators qualified this morning. Thank you, Thomas, and we worked really hard. Mike Florio came in at 2:59 and Anne Marie came in at 2:30. So both of our evaluators qualified. So if you're in the chat, send Larry, put
No, they're
up
gonna.
the chat, or just send Larry your vote this morning. Now, I always find it interesting to understand I always find it interesting, to understand the infrastructure of how cell phone technologies can grow. And I think that with this new introduction of 5G, I don't know where else, can cell phones get faster? I know the pictures are getting better. I know that in the last 3 to 5 years, the only thing that's really improved on my cell phone is when I get a new cell phone every 2 years, is the camera just seems to be better and the picture is better. So I don't know how much more it can actually go. And I think that when technology stagnates, people will find a new challenge. So it'll be interesting to see how the next 5 to 10 years go. And with that, I will introduce our general evaluator of the meeting this morning, Mr. Mark Campbell.
Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. Good morning once again. Michael, I would caution you on ever thinking that technology can stagnate, because I think we'll all be shocked where it goes within a number of years. Overall, I would have to say, Michael, you shamelessly picked a meeting topic that just happened to be in my wheelhouse. Obviously, you were trying to get in my good graces, which I appreciate. So it was a truly outstanding meeting, by the way. Clearly, you were very prepared. You had your material. Your housekeeping was cared for early on, which is good. We avoided any potential issues with job holders, things like that. I thought that both you and Thomas worked around the unanticipated delay of the inspiration very effectively, so that was less disruptive. Good job with that. And clearly it was, I didn't hear any debate about it or any discussion about it, but must have been teed up in advance to go long on table topics in light of the fact that we had only 2 speakers, 2 evaluators. So great job with that. In terms of our evaluators, Mike, I thought you had lots of really good positive feedback for Kate. I was a little bit worried that you were going to be light on your constructive feedback or ways to improve. And then you rallied at the end and you snuck in an extra suggestion in there, which was good. Anne Marie, you as well, tons of positive feedback and praise. I did not hear anything really constructive for David to improve upon, unless my active listening skills failed this morning. So you may be guilty of the dreaded whitewash this morning. Nevertheless, I did enjoy your evaluation greatly.
Len.
With that, I guess, would you like me to call for reports? I guess it's up to me, right?
Yeah, whatever you want to do.
All right, I'll call for the reports then. Let's start with Tom Moran, our tech and gesture master.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Before I give the report, let me mention something about being hacked. You may try this, I don't know, but it did work for me. I was in a hurry to go somewhere one day, and I was in my car and I was speeding. Well, I got pulled over, and the officer came up to the car, the general question, you know why I pulled you over, yada, 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 what were you doing? And I said, I don't believe I was speeding. I maybe I was hacked. And I said, my car has all these electronic things on it, and perhaps that was what caused me to accelerate over the speed limit. And he said, yeah, okay. You just watch your speed, and he let me go. So I don't know if that'll work for you, but that worked for me on that particular day. So it was an interesting meeting this morning, and I really appreciate, I've got to say, all the work that goes into moving everything and setting up everything in that room to accommodate the virtual side of this meeting. It's a lot of work, and I hope everyone appreciates that, what everyone does there to accommodate the virtual end of it. I think we're getting better with the timing lights. I noticed them coming across on the screen this morning, which is very good. I would like to see right at the end, I don't know if anyone noticed, virtually I noticed different things than you would at the club level. Mike came out in front of the lectern, and that looked so much better than the speaker standing in back of the lectern delivering their speech. And I really like that. And Mike kind of, I don't know if he did it intentionally, but he played to the entire audience, to those people there in the room and also the virtual people. I might want to remind you that we are virtual, but to us, you are virtual as well. So we have to consider that back and forth and play on that. I noticed when people were speaking this morning that there appeared to be on the table the lavalier or the headset for speaking. Now, if the speakers could use that, and I noticed it especially with Katie. Katie is one who uses her hands more, she has more gestures, and she was limited to her left hand for gesturing today. And I think she would do better. I don't know if she likes the lavalier or not, but I think she would do better with that headset on as far as gesturing. I thought everybody did a nice job, except Phil. Phil, just like I say, disappeared into Lake Ontario there. And I think we're getting better at it. So let's keep going. Let's see how this goes. And let's, the technology's there. Let's use it. That's what it's for. So we use it. It doesn't use us. So let's keep at it. Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you, Tom. That was certainly some great feedback. I can attest from having given a speech in that room, what's in the back of your mind is a fear of walking off camera, and hopefully we'll get a feel for how far we can go and still be on camera. Our joint master and grammarian, Beth Banks. Beth, can you give us a report, please?
Thank you, General Evaluator. We had some different filler words that we used today, some more than others. Tom Moran, you used the, and Jill, your filler word is okay, but you taught Steve, so he used okay also. Mike Florio, let's see. In that particular instance, let's see, did seem to be a filler word. I caught one little from Margot that's not normal, but I caught it. Anne Marie, I am sorry, but you're the winner for ums and us today. Mike, I wouldn't have used and things like that. Maybe you could have gone into the things like that instead. Kate, you had a restart. After you had good pauses, then you had a restart. And Dave, your filler word also was okay. Okay. I am nefarious. You're right about that. I did hear some either phrases or words that I really particularly liked. Steve, I like the dupe and zap. That was very interesting to me. Phil Russell, techno freak. I like that. Anne Marie, cadence. That's such a wonderful word to be able to use. Nancy, don't know if I've ever heard slangily before, but I thought that really fit. Thomas, hack its way in. Just hack its way in. That's good. Mike, I liked join the fray. That was good. Larry, you already know standard. Yeah. You know standard. You stupid, but
I was almost awakened.
yeah, almost. Kate, I liked nurture communication. That was a good phrase to use. Dave Licata, resident old guy. Good one. Smack dab center. I haven't heard that phrase in a while. I like it. Color in that scene. I really liked that because it really gives you a visual of what you're trying to do. And that is my report for today.
Thank you, Beth, for that report. It is indeed impressive that you caught Margot with an ah. However, if you really want to impress us, you need to catch Margot in a grammatical error. Then we'll be impressed. Probably has never happened and never will. Our it is time for a quiz, fellow Toastmasters. Our quiz master, Jen.
Good morning, fellow Toastmasters. I am happy to report that I have never been hacked, but I did have my phone slammed once, and that was the last time I owned a phone. So, I mean, like an actual phone, not a cell phone, of course. It just gets turned off. I don't know. I didn't really understand it, to be honest. They turned off my phone. Yeah, anyway. So, your quiz for today. I hope you all can hack this too. What percent of people take their phones into the bathroom according to Len?
11.
11, yes. And what did Larry have to wait for? And concert tickets, yes. How long have cell phones been part of Jackie's life?
84.
Yep, 1984. Where does Steve think you're supposed to stick your phone?
In an unforeseen place.
He's not sure. Who is
Dark
worse
place.
than Steve, according to Phil? Who is worse than Steve, according to Phil? Phil, remind us your friend's name.
Larry.
Larry Roberts. Okay. All right. What? Dave got that one, guys. For anyone who is counting.
I graduated from Larry.
Why did Margot give up her landline? I think it was specifically car warranty and something about a Schwinn. I'm not sure. Which operating system is open source, according to Mike? Android, yes. What percent of messages get through if both people are actively working at listening and speaking, according to Kate? 50%, yes. And what invention was Dave not around for? Fire. All right, thank you. I will turn it back over to you, Mr. General Evaluator.
Thank you very much, Jen. I'm glad we were able to successfully hack that quiz you administered. And now that I've used the word, it's safe for me to introduce our word master, Nancy, for a report.
Thank you, Mr. General Evaluator. Toastmasters, beyond our table topics, speakers using each at least once the word. Thomas, our president, used it 3 times thus far. Beth, Jen, you used it very creatively 3 times, and then once with Dave when he asked you what the word of the day was, and then you also held up the word for some of the speakers who had missed it. Jill once, Kate once, Anne Marie twice, Dave once, and once at the table when he was asking what the word of the day was, he also repeated it. Margot, but maybe I wasn't supposed to hear those. Margot once, our Toastmaster 3 times, Mike, thank you. Tom Moran twice, Beth 3 times, and Mark twice. It's a fun word, hack.
Thank you, Nancy. And with that, I will return control of the meeting back to our Toastmaster and club president to announce the awards.
Thank you, Mark. Club president is getting up and he is bringing the 50-50 over along with our winners. Before that, does anybody, do you want to do announcements? Because I know we have some time.
So next week's meeting, after next week's meeting, from 9:30 to 10:30, the hybrid committee, if you're on the hybrid committee, you should already be getting an email from Katie the next day or two about going over to the YWCA next week after the meeting. Yeah, you can do this. That's on October 21st, our next meeting. All are welcome, though. You don't have to be a member of the committee. Go over and analyze the YWCA. It's a, did I say that? Okay. 9:30 to 10:30.
Thank you. And Larry has an announcement as well.
Should I come out that way? No. I know that I'm not on camera, but Mike, you can pretend you're me over there. All right. I do have a quick report from our area director, which is Marty, who's not here today. One of the things, the dues were due recently, and AM Lockport did have their dues in on time. And if you look at all of Area 65, AM Lockport has 39 members. They are the largest membership group within Area 65. But we don't want to become complacent with that because of the fact that we've had 39 or right around that number for the last year and a half too. So invite some guests. The other is we have our leadership, and there will be a fall training. The fall training is in November. It's Saturday, November 13th. So mark your calendars. Saturday, November 13th from 9 till noon. That is on a Saturday. Follow up on Tuesday if you cannot make the Saturday, which is November 16th, and that is from 6 to 9 p.m. It will be done virtually. And Tuesday, Saturday or Tuesday. So we will follow up with more details as they become available.
Thank you, Larry. And I will announce our winners this morning. Our best table topic is Margot. Our best of area this morning is Mike Florio. We will.
Yay, Mike.
And our best speaker this morning is Catherine Orr.
I didn't bring $1. You have to remember to bring $1 to get in on stuff, but I won.
Dollar and a dream.
Winner is 066. My mother. Awesome. Thanks, Mom. It's not fixed.
Don't forget the second chance drawing for dues this morning. I did not. Do we have the schedule for next week? Do we know the
Who's the Toastmaster?
I don't know.
You?
21st. Okay. So we will just check online when you get a chance, either today, later today, or tomorrow. We'll make sure Marty-
Mike, it's Eric. Marty Johnston is our Toastmaster next week, and Halloween candy's the theme.
Halloween candy.
What? Turn it over to Thomas.
There's not an official like closing for the meeting necessarily. We do announcements and then we do the draw and the winners. And we have another announcement or, okay, Len has another announcement.
Just another shameless plug for my tickets I'm selling for my Kensington Lions Club. 2 choice seats to the Bills Miami game on the 31st. The drawing will be next Wednesday. A very limited number of tickets being sold, $10 a piece, or 3 for $20. See me. My cousin Tom Moran picked up a few tickets last week and Venmoed me the money. Wonderful thing. Got to be in it to win it. Thank you.
All right, Larry. I also know Jackie has the wreath sign up over there.
Yes.
And I planned on signing up. So since the money's not due right now, I can sign up now. That'll work out for me.
I do COD too, when I deliver.
That's cash on delivery. I wanted to wait until after Len did his plug for the Bills game, because if you are a Bills fan this year and you would like to go to the games and not even have to buy a ticket, I have an opportunity for you. Are you ready? I was approached by the Delaware North, and they have given us the opportunity for the Western New York Hydrocephalus Association to be one of their vendors, meaning that we would take over one of the booths there. So we would run either one of the beer taps or the food things or what have you. It is an online training. It takes about 30 minutes online to be considered qualified. I have to submit a name list to them. And basically it's for every one of the last home games and also for the playoff games. The opportunity for us is that basically they would give us a certain amount depending on the amount of people. We have to have a minimum of 11 to 16 for a certain booth and 20 plus for another booth. We have to commit to 3 consecutive games, but we can also, once we have committed, we can take on the rest of the season, and we are grandfathered until next year, which is a wonderful thing for the whole season. It's a great opportunity for us. So I was throwing it out to people that would perhaps want to go to the game that might be interested in doing that. The commitment would be the fact that you would have to be there at 8:30 on game day in the morning. We start at 9:30 setting up the booth, and you are done and out of there before 4 o'clock, right at the end of game. With that, I appreciate if anyone is interested, just let me know and I will be happy to give you some more information. Yes, Dave. Okay, I'll do it for you. Shout it out. Dave is coming up. So for those of you that are online, yes, Beth.
Do you have a TV showing the game?
Yes, in every booth. There's more than one. And one of the other things is that you actually, for that, you park in the ECC parking lot. They bus you right to the main entrance. You go in through, like, basically it's an employee entrance. They provide us with uniforms, woohoo, which is interesting in itself. And then at the end of game, when the game is over, you go out, you get in the bus and you're the first out, and they take you the back way over to ECC. So you get to go out of the game too.
I promise that I will be there. I will be in section 141, row 37, seat number 3, where I've been since 1973. That's where I'll be. It was, I did a favor, Mike did me a favor yesterday. I owed him a favor. So he said, Daddy, will you go out and make 15 copies of the agenda? I don't want to drive up transit again. I said, that's fine, Mike. I'm 72 years old. I've never been up transit. So I get up there and the gentleman is making the copies. I feel a tap on my shoulder. It's John Lang. Elvis was in the, exactly, Elvis was in the building and he was making a straight man. And I was, no, I guess whatever. And he was making copies of a photo of himself in his Elvis costume, biting the head off a toy dolphin. I like that. He mentioned to me, the reason I came forward, he mentioned to me that he has proposed to the Travel Channel, Elvis does tailgating. So he's going to probably travel throughout the league. I'd like to claim that he learned a lot here. I'd like to claim that. Yeah, then we're all set then, right? He's on tape? Okay, good. So that'll be, if his plans succeed, that'll be a great bragging point for us. And don't be shy when it comes to sales.
Do we get any royalties?
Yeah. I don't know. If you think there's a more thankless job than running a concession stand at the stadium, please think again.
Mr. President. Oh, I guess according to, can I do this for you? Meeting is officially adjourned. I had the authority from our president, so thank you. Those of you that are online, we hope you didn't get hacked this morning, and we'll see you soon.
Are we saving the money then? Oh, you got to
I've never seen it done.
Thank you. Good luck with that.
Yeah, they gave us the opportunity, and if I can, a minimum of 11 people, we receive.
Yeah, no, I know.
It's stupid money.
Oh, I know it is. That's how much money that he saves. No, it doesn't need to.
I've been trying for 5 years
My wife
to
said
get
I
in,
had to save money.
and they finally called me. They called me at the beginning of the season. I got a thing. So I've been following up with her every other day. She finally got back to me for the second half of the season. So.
I want to have like, I can still be like.
That's so funny.
I'll probably color them like. you know,
Oh, no, she
color.
forgot her word thing, but we can use it every week. 'cause That was awesome.
Probably more than, well,
Nancy,
think about.
save that for you.
Oh,
she got her word of the day. Nope.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what I was looking at.
What?
That was very effective.
Usually my.
And then I thought maybe she left.
So my
it right
laptop,
there.
it won't do dual screen and size that one to the right side. It'd be really small. So I had to do extended screen. So I can't see anything to
I
highlight.
saw you over there trying to do that. I can highlight them here in Spotlight. So I was doing it and then you were doing it. We're overlapping
Yeah,
each
you
other.
were pinning and I was spotlighting.
Yeah.
Enemies.
So it was like,
Normally I can duplicate the screen and I can see it on my screen and
and it wouldn't let you do
no
it.
problem. The image was really tiny on that screen. It wouldn't size for two different screens. So I gotta play with that, but I also want to use the other laptop, but I need the VGA to HDMI adapter for it.
I have one at home or at my office.
No, that's Jack. That's Jack.
Well, she, we could bring it in.
Well, yeah, we can leave it in here. Put it with
Everything sound related to my device manager to try and kill that speaker. I had no idea what it was doing. And then finally, the volume, which had been at 0,
Yeah,
I saw that it was at 45, and I lowered it to 0, and that time it worked.
and it works. That's weird.
And then I get a lot of systems low on resources. It's happened with both of my laptops.
Someone might be using
Did you get that? That little pop-up?
Yeah, they're not our
On,
Toastmasters,
my
but they stay
thing,
out
no.
for the
When you're
next
doing
group.
Zoom?
I think someone's probably using it.
These I only brought for space or because I had to put them under the TV feed.
Oh, for the,
Yeah. Yeah, you taking your camera home with it?
yeah. I actually am going to, I'm on Sheridan Drive today doing a pop-up. But then I'm out in Akron tomorrow and we have actually an opportunity to take over the general store, the ice cream store. So I need to put security cameras.
No, we're
on
not
the
taking
buildings.
that.
So I'll use these.
Stay. Yeah, the black ones we put in the closet together, I guess.
When you need help here.
Which one? The big one?
Oh,
More than willing.
I'm taking that, I'm gonna take the TV,
Not anymore, we leave them up.
oops,
They're so
sorry.
heavy,
Nope, those
and the
one,
other
yeah, I'm
group
sorry.
doesn't go over there, so we've been leaving them. Thank you.
Trailers.
We just set the chairs up in a big circle. That is all.
There are other things going on.
Can I move you too, so we can?
I'll let that.
What? What's in there?
I'll let that.